Ted told Nicole that for once he, Nicole, and Leslie are on the same side, which definitely was eye roll worthy. Of course, Ted excited about that. His two women on the same side. If only he could get Shanice on that same side too. Although Shanice is on that same side too, but Leslie's going to be the one that ruins that. And then what's Ted going to do? Just get walked all over per usual? What is up, fellow Beyond the Gates viewers? Here to talk about today's episode, which was a quite different episode than the norm. We had ourselves a dream sequence that was really a nightmare sequence for Kat while she was still out, not waking up after surgery. Had its good moments, its funny moments, and at the end, I think it was reflecting for Kat, putting herself in Eva's shoes for once. Let's talk about it. Ted and Nicole started this episode worried that Kat was not waking up. They complained to Dr. Miles, who I think has been a terrible doctor to deal with, so I understand why Ted was getting frustrated with him. Apparently, Kat's blood pressure is elevated and she's not breathing on her own. It could have been the anesthesia or internal bleeding, but it wasn't internal bleeding. So Kat's parents went and sat with her, tell her it's time to wake up. Nicole upset because she was fine before surgery, and now look at her. I'm sure Ted should feel kind of guilty about that. This is when Kat's out-of-body experience started, seeing Ted and Nicole arguing about Ted having another child. Nicole upset that he threw their lives away as a fling. This dream was like her being in the past when Ted got together with Leslie, knocked up Leslie, except I guess from this point of view, instead of Ted keeping it a secret and trying to make Leslie leave town or get an abortion, Ted was staying with Leslie, and Ted and Nicole had to, duke it out. Basically, Ted was leaving Nicole for Leslie in this nightmare sequence. In this sequence, Ted and Nicole also talked about the problems they were having trying to have another baby, and Ted saying he found something real, something that made him happy, and Nicole isn't happy, so Nicole screamed at Ted to get out. In reality, Nicole was still just sitting at Kat's side, asking for a sign that Kat can hear her. Meanwhile, in reality, Leslie was visiting Eva, who she was telling never looked more beautiful. Eva called her biased, but Leslie is just happy to see her daughter alive and well. Leslie asks what Eva wants, if she wants like a meal or something. I don't know how Eva could eat a real meal after her instant recovery from the surgery. That's what Leslie was acting like. But all Eva wanted was to see Kat and thank her, and she said she owes Kat. Leslie said they both owe Kat. They owe her everything. So at least for now, Leslie and Eva are thankful for Kat. I do believe and hope that Eva will stay that way. Leslie, you never know with that annoying cartoon. Danny was talking to Vernon and Anita. The family was still in the waiting room waiting for Kat, although their waiting room is like right in front of the nurse's desk, which is fine. Obviously, they don't have a budget for a separate room for a waiting room at the hospital. It's just right outside of Shanice's nurse desk. Chelsea was there looking at Chelsea cat pictures. I think I've enjoyed Chelsea worrying about her best friend, her cousin Kat. Tomas was there. I have not enjoyed Tomas worrying. Tomas was worried because Ted said that people wake up from surgeries at different times, but maybe he should have pushed for trying to wake Kat up sooner. I don't really know what Tomas was saying here. I don't know what Tomas ever adds to a goddamn conversation. Danny pulled Nicole, who was worried, trying to stay strong and stay positive that Kat will wake up. Ted was still at Kat's side, but Kat was still having her dream. This time it was Bill and Danny still together, talking about Ted getting someone pregnant, talking about Bill trying to give someone money to leave, Danny saying that woman trapped Ted. Kat was confused in her dream, thinking they were talking about Shanice, so in her dream she went to Shanice, asking Shanice if Shanice got knocked up by her father, but obviously wasn't. Leslie came in, Leslie was pregnant. Also in this dream, nobody could hear Kat when she speaks. which I thought the dream was going for. It's like Kat in real life. Her family never really listens to Kat. But that wasn't the total thing. But basically, Kat started to realize that she was living in her own personal hell, where Ted chose Leslie over Nicole, and she went to the Grands to find Nicole crying there, learning Nicole is pregnant too. And Kat hears that Nicole dealing with the pregnancy is making her miserable, saying her and Ted were just at each other's throats. They tried so long to have a baby, and then she finally gets pregnant, and she's miserable with this child, saying that a blessing that comes too late will be a curse. Of course, Kat's listening to this because Nicole's talking about being pregnant with Kat here. Pretty terrible for Kat to hear this in her nightmare. But in reality, Ted is talking to Kat about how he's so grateful that she decided to be a donor. He's remembering her last words before surgery, that she was doing this surgery for Ted. He wants Kat to fight with everything. He wants both of his daughters to come home. Martin arrived back from his press conferences from winning his little election thing. He got back fast, hoping that Kat would be awake, but she's still not awake. Ted doesn't want to leave Kat's side, but Eva and Leslie are asking to see Kat. Obviously, that's not possible. Ted told Nicole that for once he, Nicole, and Leslie are on the same side, which definitely was eye-roll worthy. Of course, Ted excited about that. His two women on the same side. If only he could get Shanice on that same side too, although Shanice is on that same side too. But Leslie's going to be the one that ruins that. And then what's Ted going to do? Just get walked all over per usual? Probably. Back in Kat's dream, it started moving along faster, where she was a little older, like 4 years old or something. They were going to somewhere, but Ted only got 4 tickets, only taking Leslie himself, Martin, and Eva. Kat not invited. Ted says that Kat is desperate to be center of attention. Nicole says, how does Kat feel when he acts like he has only 2 children? And yeah, Ted was being an asshole in this stream, basically acting like Bill more than Ted. Back at the beginning when the show started, Bill was always rubbing things in Danny's face. That's what Ted was doing to Nicole in these dream sequences. In reality, Ted went to go see Eva and Leslie. They want to talk to Kat. They have a whole lot to say, but Ted had to tell them that Kat hasn't woken up yet and has post-operation complications. Eva upset that Kat could be dying after saving her life. Leslie, of course, had a smart-ass remark saying Kat's gonna fight because she's sure that Kat is thinking about all the ways she can hold this over Eva's head, and she's gonna fight to wake up just to do that. As the show went on today, Martin was feeling guilty that if Kat doesn't come out of this or is changed after this, she will blame him forever, because he was super pushy with her last week. A lot of people pushy. Some of it handled it better than others. Martin probably did handle it the worst, even though those scenes were intense and dramatic and I did like them. Martin did handle that the worst. Chelsea, meanwhile, was wondering if Kat could sense all this positivity that they were trying to push towards her. But clearly with the nightmare Kat was having, that was not the case. Because in the dream, it's now cotillion time. She's old enough to be at the cotillion, only to learn Kat didn't have a single vote, and Eva won by a landslide. Anita says that Eva is a lovely young woman, while Kat has a chip on her shoulder, bigger than any diva she has ever known. Naomi had the funniest line that Naomi ever had, talking shit about Kat's daddy issues. And that's definitely when Kat was trying to get out of this nightmare, but it wasn't working. Back in reality, Eva was looking forward to going home after a conversation about it with Leslie. Eva asked Leslie, very worried, if she really believed that Kat is going to be okay. Leslie says that Kat brought Eva back to life and God won't let that happen if she has anything to say about it. Leslie's been acting for a couple episodes like she really has this line to God, even though she's never proven to be a saint to have that line to God. Nicole was talking to Kat in her room, saying that Kat faced her fears and saved Eva's life, and Ted was saying he's so very proud. Chelsea was still sending her good vibes, but it wasn't working because Kat was in her dream now with Chelsea, Tomas, And Martin, Tomas was waiting for his girlfriend. Kat saying, "I'm right here." Of course, his girlfriend in this nightmare is Eva. The last thing I wanted to see was Tomas and Eva back together. And then the best part of the episode was that Chelsea and Eva are so close that they're Chiva, which I think is way more fashionable sounding than Chelsea Cat. Did you pick up that Chiva bag? That sounds like it's, hardcore fashion. So Kat felt betrayed by the Chiva stuff in her dream with Chelsea. Also, Chelsea calling Eva cuz. Nicole was at this club that they were at with another man. That's the only thing that was the same in reality and in Kat's dream is Nicole was being Nicole. So that was funny to me. But Martin went on this rant about how he hopes that he, Eva, and Kat can be real siblings, but Eva wants nothing to do with that. Eva called Kat a selfish, basic bitch, and that Kat doesn't deserve to be a part of the family, says Kat is a horrible person. Eva says it would have been better if Kat had never been born. And then in Kat's nightmare, Eva turns and looks at Kat and says, "Hurts, doesn't it?" And so then Kat talked to Ted in her dream. Ted was actually able to hear Kat at this point. Kat talking about how she walked a mile in Eva's boots, saying it was painful to be on the outside and wasn't wanted. She gets her now. She was happy. She donated a piece of her liver. She's okay with Ted loving both of them because sharing him isn't as bad as the idea of losing him. So they tied it together with Kat being in Eva's shoes here. At that same time, Eva obviously grateful to Kat for saving her life, worried that Kat will lose her life saving hers. And it's good because this show didn't need to make progress on this storyline. The rivalry got stale a long time ago, and I do feel like they can now take both characters, who are two of the show's best characters when written well. They haven't been written well for the past 10 months or more. So I would like to see a new direction for Kat and Eva. I don't think they need to be the closest people, but seeing them not at each other's throats is going to be good. But I do hope they have two good directions. Like the writers need to put their imaginations to give both Kat and Eva separate good storylines. With Kat, they got to start by dropping Tomasto, because watching him come around with his lack of emotions towards Kat this week, not so great. But that was today's episode. Very different. It's harking back to soaps past. Soap operas have loved these dream sequences when someone is almost dying for as long as I can remember. Although I feel like it was more of the ABC soap operas. Someone said Days of Our Lives, but I think it was still more so the ABC soap operas love to do these dream sequences when someone is possibly dying. It was good to see today. And it's only one episode, so I'm good with it. And Kat woke up at the end, so I'm very interested to see how she reacts to everyone coming to.